What's going on, you guys? It's Outdoor Maniac here again with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install an electric start kit on a Hisun 196cc gasoline engine. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is pop this cover off, and by doing that I'm going to have to take the airbox off to do that. Perfect, so now that I have those bolts off, it should just slide right off. So next I have to take this part off, and there are 4 bolts holding it on. One right here, one right there, and then 2 more underneath. Perfect, now it should just pop off, and make sure to be careful of the springs up there. So next, what I'm going to have to do is get this flywheel off of the crankshaft. And the first thing I'm going to need to do to get that process going is to unscrew or unbolt and remove the ignition coil. Perfect. With that unbolted, I could just move it out of the way, just like that. Perfect. And next, I'm going to take a 3/4 socket and remove the flywheel bolt. So here's the bolt. Next, I'm going to take off the pull start coupling and then the fan. And now we have full access to get our flywheel off of the shaft. So you can either use a crowbar, or right now I'm using a door. I don't even know what this is, but it's the thing that you use to install doors. And I'm going to take a hammer and just gently tap it in there to gain leverage on the flywheel. Now I'm going to take another one and put it on top and hammer it in there just a bit. Perfect. So now I'm going to take a mallet and just slightly bang on the flywheel. So now that the flywheel is loosened, I can remove this and this, and the flywheel should just wiggle right off. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, so I'm going to put the camera down for just 1 second. Alright, perfect. So now we can set aside the flywheel and get to work in this area. So I'm not going to touch these 2 coils. These are perfectly fine for me. I do need to remove this one like shroud type thing just to cover that covers the flywheel. There's one bolt that holds it on, which is right there. Perfect. So now that we have that shroud removed, I can go ahead and install the starter motor, and that is going to mount right here. So I'm going to take the motor, and it's going to bolt on right there. And I'm going to bolt the top end, and then I'll show you the rest. So for the bottom bolt mounting hole, I'm just going to repurpose this bolt that came from this shroud shield thing. Perfect. So off camera, I installed that bolt. And now I'm going to install the new flywheel with the geared back ring. Another thing that I'm going to recommend is that you have to make sure that the timing on the old flywheel matches the timing on the new flywheel. So as you can see, the key in this hole matches where this magnet is compared to the old one, which is about the same, pretty much identical, as well as this little notch for the fan. So now I'm going to take it and install it right directly onto the crankshaft, just like that. So now I'm going to start putting the whole front area back together, starting with the fan. Perfect. So now that I have the fan installed, I'm going to reinstall the starter coupling. Then I'm going to screw the bolt back on with the same 3/4 socket. Perfect. Now we're going to move back over here to the ignition coil, and I'm going to reinstall that. So I got both mounting bolts back in. I haven't tightened it. As you can see, it's still pretty loose to make sure that I adjust the gap properly. So now I'm going to take my gap tool with let's focus other way. With the 1517, I don't know really what that is. 1517. And I'm going to slide it into one of those little those gaps, just like so. And then I'm going to spin the flywheel so that the ignition magnet is right under the coil. And then that should give you your proper gap. And then you just tighten this bolt down. Perfect. So off camera, I did the bottom one, and then I double checked and made sure that I had the proper gap on both. So yeah, next I'm going to install this piece of machinery thing that will start the engine when you tell it to. Perfect. So with that piece now on, I'm going to show you how to wire the thing up. So here's all the wires that we have to work with. It's 5 wires. This brown wire is gonna be your kill switch wire, so that's gonna plug in to the kill switch wire coming off of the coil, the ignition coil. So now I'm gonna plug that in. Okay, so now with that brown wire installed to the engine kill switch, I'm going to move on to these 2 black wires and just disregard them for now, because this engine does not have a low oil shutoff switch, and these 2 wires attach to that low oil shutoff switch. So right now I'm going to discard these 2 wires. So now we're left with 2 wires. This one with the ring is going to go right directly onto your starter solenoid. So I'm going to bolt that on there right now. Perfect. So now that I have this installed, I'm going to move on to the next wire that we have to worry about, which is this one. This other like heat shielded wire. So it's kind of hard to see, but there is a black and white wire right here that is also coming off the starter solenoid, and that's what wire you're going to plug this into. Perfect. So now that's all finished, it should be ready to go as soon as you hook up a battery. So now I'm just going to recap what I did. So remember, the brown wire is going to the ignition coil kill switch, the engine kill switch basically. Then the wire with the ring is going to go directly onto the hot side of the coil, or the hot side of the starter solenoid. And then this black and white coated wire is going to go to this other heat shielded, I believe it's blue. Yeah, it's blue wire. Just as a side note, wire colors do depend on the type of kit that you buy for these engines. So if yours doesn't have the same color of wires as mine, I recommend just trying to look up for that specific kit, and or watch this video and see if this can help you. Or you can just try to mismatch these wires, but then you run the risk of damaging the system. So now I'm going to hook it up to a battery, and that's it. Then it should work. So right here I have a 12 volt 7.2 amp hour sealed lead acid battery, and so I'll show you how to wire that battery up here right now. So I kind of just made these 2 little dongles just to temporarily hook up the battery to the starter. And so you're going to need 2 of these. If you don't have 2 of these, you could just use a thick gauge alligator clip with a thick wire attached to it. Kind of like this one right here. Perfect example. Okay, so one of these wires is going to go onto the positive side of the starter solenoid, and then I'm going to bolt that down with these fasteners right here. Okay, so with that wire now installed, I'm going to move on to the ground side of the battery that we need to worry about. So when it comes to hooking up the ground side, you have to look for a good grounding point on the engine. So like, this wouldn't be a good spot because you'd have to pull out this bolt, which can break the seal of the crankcase. So what I did is I went over here to the gas tank mounting bolt. Granted, that might not be the wrong spot due to gas vapors and possible arcing, but at the time, this is going to be the best option. So I'm going to unscrew this bolt, and then I'm going to slide this connector over it. Perfect. So now that I got that installed, we can go ahead and hook these wires up straight to the battery. So this wire that's connected to the ground side, which is connected to the mounting spot of the gas tank, is going to go straight to your negative battery post. Just like that. Hold on just one second. So now that that's on there, we can go ahead and move to the positive side. So we're going to take that wire, connect it straight to the positive side, like so. Come on, get on there. Perfect. And do not mix these, or else you're going to have some serious problems. So once again, the wire that you hooked up to the bolt is going to go right to your negative side of the battery, and then the one attached to the starter solenoid is always going to go to the positive side, always. So now that we have our auxiliary electrons in this battery connected to the starter, we can go ahead and take our key, insert it into the key switch, and it should, right as you turn it to start, it should crank over just like this. And now you have successfully completed an electric starter kit on your Hyson or Predator, pretty much any Honda clone 6.5 200-ish horse, 200 cc, around there. This should work for any of those motors. But go ahead and do your own research. Make sure that it's the right product for your engine, just to make sure that you don't break anything or cause yourself to spend more money. If you do have any questions regarding this build, just hit them down in the comments. I'll try my best to answer them in a timely manner. And yeah, that's it. So we'll catch you next time. And thank you guys for 90 subscribers. We're almost to 100. It's going to be a great place to be. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you around.